Hi, Susan Jositas here. I've really been enjoying seeing other artists give tours of their studios in recent days. And so I thought, I'm going to give a tour of my studio so I can share with you guys. Anyway, it was built, it's going on 3 years ago as an addition off of our house. So I come down into my studio down these steps here. That's my family room on the other side there. Anyway, as I walk into my studio, turn back around here. All right, I come down and coming in, you can see that I have a whole wall of windows, and they are all north light, which is fabulous. So I can do a lot of my painting in natural light. And we have a beautiful garden terrace out there, so I get to see flowers blooming, and we have a pond, and in the warm weather the doors are open and I can hear the water flowing from the fountain. So I feel very, very lucky to have that. On this wall over here, you can see a big painting that I have been working on mostly lately. It's a painting of Southport Harbor, still in the works, not yet finished, but I've really been enjoying kind of going back to that place and time on a beautiful summer day. You can also see some of the flower paintings that are in the works. That wall, when the studio was built, the idea was that those two walls with shelves would be a place to show unfinished paintings, or just to store unfinished paintings. I called it my whip wall. But as it's turned out, this studio is overflowing with paintings, so there's more than just unfinished ones out there. But those flower paintings are all in the works, and I'm kind of waiting now. They were started last year, and I'm kind of waiting for the blossoms to return so I can hopefully finish them from life. Painting from life is always the best, especially with flowers. And so another little project I have going on right now, I am primarily an oil painter, but Rose Schuring is having a 30-day challenge to do 20 flower paintings in 30 days. And I am doing it as to experiment. The purpose of the exercise is to encourage experimentation. So I am painting in gouache. I'm going to be painting in gouache every day, doing a small flower painting, or most every day, I should say. So you can see my first attempt here of painting these daffodils. And my next subject is going to be this fragrant. Can you smell it? Oh, so good. Hydrangea. One of the really nice things about painting flowers is you get to smell them while you're painting them, if they're fragrant. Over here on this is the back window of my studio. This is my table that I have pretty much set up for watercolor. So I can come down and a lot of times first thing in the morning before I start getting into my real work, I just do a quick watercolor sketch looking out the window, or just with some other kind of inspiration. So it's good to have all my watercolor materials all set up and ready to go there. On this wall over here, you can see there's a lot more unfinished pieces, a lot of portraits on the bottom wall. Actually, I should show you this one. This is my first ever attempt at a self-portrait. There it is, which I did a couple of weeks ago with a live Zoom session with Putney Painters, and it was fabulous. Zoom has been such a lifesaver during this COVID crisis. It's enabled us to gather as painters, to paint with each other. We painted for an entire day. It felt like the next day I woke up and I felt like I had actually gone to Vermont to paint at the barn. But it was all done right from the comforts of my own studio and seeing everybody else on the computer. And last week we met again, and there's my attempt from last week. I started painting a portrait of my granddaughter Calla at the age of 2. So there's some other portraits you can see if you recognize Penelope Simpson from the barn. She's there. That's from a while ago. And I have these are plein air paintings of that I did looking out my window during the one snowstorm that we had this year. Anyway, and then this is where I get most of my work done, is right there at that easel. And it moves. I mean, everything's on wheels in here. So right now it's set up in the corner to be next to the monitor. Speaking of Zoom, we actually did our first, or I did my first teaching class via Zoom with my student. And so that we worked from an image on the computer, and which I have up on you can see my monitor over there. And we worked on an underpainting of an image. My student had the same image on her monitor. And then I was able to work with her with Zoom to see what she was painting, and she could see what I was painting, and we were communicating, and it really worked out well. So I'm looking forward to, who knows, this could be a whole new thing, doing more teaching on the internet via Zoom. So anyway, I wanted to point out, that's a kitchen cart that I have for my tabaret. Actually bought at IKEA a few years back. Had little drawers. I could keep all my paints in here, and storage below for all kinds of things. And I have my French-made Jack Richardson is where I keep my palette is in there, and it stays covered. This is my journal, which I have strictly for painting. So a big part of my painting process involves a period of meditation before I begin to paint. And it's a simple meditation, becoming still, quiet, and after which when I'm getting ready to paint, before I do anything else, I write down thoughts that came to me in my meditation, and I write down my feelings about what I want to paint, and almost like writing a letter to the canvas of what I want to create on there. And it's kind of sad because I'm not sad yet, but I am supposed to do a workshop teaching with a meditative process in Nantucket, May 30th and 31st. I've been holding out, making any official decision about it. But at any rate, we gathered a lot of momentum for it. And if it doesn't get done on May 30th and 31st, it's going to be rescheduled, and I'll be really excited to share the process. Speaking of Zoom and using social media now, if anybody's interested, I'd love to hear from you. I would love to get some kind of open dialogue going with other artists about using meditation in their painting process, or share with you what I do. So anyway, would love to hear from you about that if you wish. And there's my gallery wall. There's all the, as much as I can fit, of paintings that are finished and in their frames and not out in galleries at the moment. So that's that. And then that's my chair. That's where I begin every day in my studio, sitting in that chair, lighting a candle, and starting my day with stillness and meditating. And really makes a big difference. It makes a very big difference in my life. I didn't show you this. Not this wall here. Almost forgot. Oh, where are we going here? Yep, that's my, there in that cabinet on the shelves, there are all my still life objects that I've collected, and my sink, which nice big space to wash all my brushes. And I have a couple of things here. Mary Pettis, who's an amazing artist. I have her palette there that I was able to get at a Salmagundi mystery palette event. And I was so excited when I found out it was hers. My niece is Lorraine Glessner, and that is a very tiny abstract encaustic painting that she did that really inspires me with its beautiful colors and patterns. And I'll show you one more thing up here on the shelf. It's my picture, my painting that I did, a little quick painting of my granddaughter, Avery, right after she saw the constellations on the ceiling in Grand Central Station, and I was with her, and it was such a magical moment. And I came home and did that painting from a photograph to try to capture that wonder. And one last thing I wanted to show you. So this big barn door here hides all my my painting supplies, canvases and frames, and I wanted somehow, the barn door just made it great for the studio because it doesn't have to open and take up a lot of space, but I have a lot of materials in there that were not so well organized in my last studio, which used to be in a small bedroom upstairs in our house. So I love this space. It's my sanctuary, and just look forward to every day to coming down here and getting the day started, and as many days as I can, because I do get taken away from painting a lot. We care for our grandchildren a couple of days a week, and that takes up a chunk of time, and just house things, garden, everything else. But I get in here as much as I can, and certainly nowadays with social isolation, I'm spending a lot more time in here, and I'm very grateful that I have that. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing my studio. I hope it wasn't too long, and I would just say thank you if you've stuck with it all this time. And I hope you stay well physically and mentally and spiritually during these times, and I hope to hear from you. Take care and happy painting.